I learned a very important lesson over the past 4 or 5 years, and the acquisition of St. Christoal was quite fulfilling, but I learned a lesson about doing things like this that's very important. When we started this acquisition of St. Cristobal, and I'm going to talk about St. Cristobal, but I'm going to quickly move forward to another topic here, because I don't want to bore you. I mean, it's only about silver, and silver is only $100 or something today, I think. So it's not the main focus of what I want to speak about. So we were a bunch of cowboys when we picked up St. Cristobal. I had a relationship with Sumitomo Corporation that went back quite a few years. Got to know the folks very well. They were in an interesting situation where they wanted to exit the mine in Bolivia because they didn't really see the future. If you think back even 5 years ago, silver was $16 or something like that, and zinc prices were kind of waffling around. They kind of spiked. They went up to $2 briefly, and then they came right back down. They were at $1, I think, when we closed the acquisition, $1 per pound. That's yesterday. But we, as a small group of investors, and this photograph was on the first trip we made down to Bolivia. My good friend Tavi Costa and I went down there. There was a few other people on the trip, but what it really took to get the deal done was an amazing amount of goodwill from many, many different people. And this includes Sumitomo Corporation. They knew me. They knew that I would be agreeable to a lot of the terms that they needed to see fulfilled to execute the acquisition. So we pulled it off. I knew what they wanted, and I was able to deliver. There were a great number of complications that arose. Someday, the team that I have that I work with to complete the acquisition, we're going to write a book because it is an absolutely amazing tale. It took 14 months to complete the acquisition. The way we financed it was an amazing tale. Again, goodwill. It was goodwill out of a group called Ocean Partners. Ocean Partners basically lent us money against the concentrate inventory that the mine held the day we closed. So we bought the mine with the mine. It's an unbelievable story. There was a fire at the port of Mejillones where the ship concentrates. It delayed our transaction by 5 or 6 months. We thought we were going to close the deal in September 2022. I was in Bolivia. I met with the mines minister. We thought we were on track to close this. He and I gave each other a big hug. Let's go. As I'm leaving Bolivia, I land in Houston, fire up my phone. The entire port of Mejillones was on fire. It was unbelievable. We were supposed to close the next day. So Sumitomo had to scramble for like 3 months to rearrange all their shipping, contingent shipping plans and stuff to get concentrates out of the country. In the meantime, the mine had a down ramp. Basically, they had to go, not in care and maintenance, but basically ramp way down because the concentrate inventories had built up, and there's no way to ship them. What did that mean? It meant we got a better deal. We actually shaved $90 million off the price. We bought the asset for $257 million, of which almost all of that money came from the concentrates that were on site. It was a gift from God. I kid you not. This was a gift from God. But it involved a lot of goodwill from a lot of people. And I'm going to tell you, I'm grateful to everybody, including Tavi, who you see here. Chen is an investor. Kiko, my good friend. A lot of people in this room are investors in St. Cristobal. Now, again, I don't want to get too sidetracked there. I don't want to get lost in the weeds. Don't want to bore you, okay? I do, because I have a very friendly lawyer here in Vancouver who looks out for me. He always makes sure I have some form of disclaimer because I like to talk a lot, and he knows it. So I have to put these disclaimers up here just to cover my butt, which is fine. We are a private company, by the way. And look, I'm not trying to bore you. I could sit here and tell you, we produced 18 million ounces last year. We're on that track to produce about 20 million ounces this year and 180,000 tons of zinc last year, and we're on track to produce about the same amount of zinc this year. I think we're the 4th or 5th largest silver mine in the world. Boring stuff. I don't want to go into the details there. It's been operating for about 18 years. You know, Sumitomo, they had about 5 years of sulfide when we picked it up. We thought, maybe there's a little more here, so we started drilling. Now we're out to about 2050. We're good. But, you know, I don't want to bore you with little things. I mean, silver is only $100, so, you know, it's like, it's not a real story right now. So maybe in a couple of years, you know, we can get excited, right? I don't know. You know, but then, you know, there's things like this, you know, like, well, again, I don't want to bore you, but we do have this oxide silver project that's probably going to add about 15 million ounces of silver production over the next couple of years. We're going to build it. It was left there, another gift from God, right? Oxide, 200 million ounces of oxide silver waiting to be mined. We're building a process plant shortly. We'll add that to our production. We'll be up to 35 million ounces. I don't know, but you know, again, little stuff, little details. The mill only does about 52,000 tons a day. It's okay. It's kind of a smaller scale mine, but it works. Pretty good nick too. It's clean. That was one of the selling points. The mill was clean. When I went there to visit, and I could see there wasn't rubbish all around, I think, you know, these guys are all right. They do a pretty good job running a mill. Not bad. But I don't want to bore you with that. Okay, this is where I start to get excited. This is the first time I've been able to do what I love, and that's to explore. And I can do it because I know I got the money to do it. So the first thing we did after completing the acquisition is we fired up drills. This is the first time in probably 20 years, really since the Apex days. This is going back to the mid-2000s. It's the first time that there was significant exploration at the mine. Again, when we picked this up, it looked like there was 5 years sulfide. That was it. We're gonna have to wind it down. The people in Bolivia were terrified because we are the largest private employer. We are the largest taxpayer in Bolivia. And they were terrified that they wouldn't have that tax revenue. We basically support the Bolivian economy, okay? This is a big deal. But I looked at them, I looked at the minister, and I said, Minister Villavicencio, we are going to drill. We're going to add sulfide to this story. When I come back to Bolivia, you know, in a couple of years, I can tell you we're gonna have a lot more ore. We do. We've been drilling. This is what I love to do. We got 14 rigs operating. You can see some of them here. We've now added, you know, officially it's about 12 or 13 years additional sulfide, but we can already see from the step-out drilling that we're gonna add at least 20, maybe 25 years of sulfide life to this thing. What does that mean? It means we're gonna keep a lot of people employed for a lot of time. We're going to pay taxes, good taxpayers in Bolivia. Yes, they're high taxes, but they're gonna come down soon because the Bolivian politics have changed dramatically here recently. I think we're gonna see benefit from that. Don't wanna get, you know, into boring stuff like taxes and how lower taxes might improve our cash flow, but you know, we'll you know, leave that on the table. Anyway, what does it mean to own and run a mine? It means making the most out of the asset, and in this case, drilling. We got 14 rigs, okay? We've also made a new discovery. This is about 40 kilometers from that previous photo. We're private. Do y'all know about it? No, nobody knows about it. But it's probably one of the biggest and highest grade silver discoveries made in modern history. And it's sitting underneath that paddock right there. Yeah, big deal. It's gonna be fun. It's fun, but this is what I love to do. I love to drill. I know I haven't been coming to MIFS and such recently so much. I've been very busy, okay? But this is why. This is what's kept me busy for the past couple of years. We've been also very fortunate to use our, you know, bounty of cash flow out of St. Cristobal to pursue zinc and silver in Ireland. So we're reopening the Galmoy mine. This is the mine site from the air. We're gonna make Ireland great again. It's my MIGA project, M-I-G-A, MIGA. Ireland was a great mining camp at one point in time. There's one major mine left in operation, Tara, right now. That's the only one, that's Boliden. We're gonna make Ireland a mining hub again. We're opening Galmoy, we're doing lots of exploration. My teams went out there with 3 drill rigs, and I said, 3's not enough. Let's go to 8. So we're ramping up to 8 drill rigs. Under these green paddocks you see here, there is probably the most well-endowed zinc jurisdiction on planet Earth. And we're going to make Ireland a major mining hub once again. We're not far from Lachine. If anybody knows about Lachine, it was one of the biggest zinc mines in the world at one time. Okay, again, but this is just kind of boring stuff, and I don't want to drag you through the mud here. It's just boring, reopening mines and building the biggest silver producer in the world. Yeah, whatever. Let's get on to the good stuff. This is the good stuff. These are people that I work with and have worked with for many years, some of them. Most of the people in this photograph have a lot of gray hair. And you'll notice across this audience, there's a lot of gray hair. We have an issue in the mining industry. We are an aged industry. And here we are on the cusp of what is probably the biggest boom in commodities and mining space we'll ever see in our lifetime. I take this very, very seriously. We have a problem. We have a problem because we don't have young investors yet coming into the space. We need to attract them. We don't have young professional people coming into this space. We must attract them. You can see in this photograph, great friends of mine, we're all 60-ish, 65 years old. We're not going to be around forever. Now, there's one kid there, he's got a ball cap on, he's on the left-hand side of the image. Will Estranga. We've employed Will for, 10 years now in various jobs. He now works for us at San Cristobal. Brilliant kid. Guess what? I just promoted him to vice president. He's going to oversee our operation, and importantly, he's actually going to be the boss to many of the people you see in the photograph, which is really interesting. So he's going to be a boss to old seasoned guys. But these are good friends of mine, and they're all geologists. And when we picked up St. Cristobal, we started to roll up our sleeves and we got to work. And these are the team I'm working with. Carlos, over there on the other side of the hood, I didn't even know I had a brother in Bolivia. Carlos is my long-lost Bolivian brother. He and I get along like a house on fire. If he wants to drill something, we get a drill out there and drill it. Now, this is where I have fun. But here's the problem. We're dinosaurs. We're a bunch of old guys, a bunch of very old professionals in the mining industry. And we all know what happened to the dinosaurs. Nothing good. Okay? You're going to see a fundamental change in this industry. Don't know how it's going to take shape, but everybody in this room has got to be aware there's going to be a fundamental change in this mining industry over the next couple of years, and that means bringing in young guys. There's some, Galen, right here. Galen's working on one of my favorite projects, Mogollon, down in New Mexico. Roger, sorry, you're about my age, so I can't. It's okay, but Roger has a lot of young people, some of whom I know quite well, who he's brought in. Claudia, I know you got a great team too, okay? Some young people, bringing up the ranks. That's our job, okay? As a mining industry, we must do this. Now, I went to ICMM when Sumitomo sold us this. They said, you got to join ICMM. I'm like, what? I don't know anything about working on ICMM. I go in there and there's all these CEOs and I'm thinking, I'm just a Joe walking in the room. And then I listen to them complaining about the fact there's no mining professionals in the mining industry. And I'm like, well, duh, you guys didn't fund any of them. You didn't put your money where your mouth is and fund universities, fund research, fund students. What the heck? So then I got to thinking, well, I could be critical of everybody. I remember writing an email one day. I wrote, in the words of Ronald Reagan, if not us, who, if not now, when? And that didn't go over so well. People got very offended by my critique of how the mining industry has supported young people. But then I decided, you know what? I can do it on my own. All right, so guess what? We're going to make the mammals. The mammals are going to emerge here. Okay, we're going to take the mining industry out of this world of the dinosaurs. We're going to resurrect the mining industry after the meteor impact that we've been through, and we're going to create the mammals. And the way I'm doing that, students. I realized, I could beat myself up trying to find students in the U.S. or Canada to support. I looked at Bolivia. As soon as I got there, I'm like, my gosh, there's kids everywhere who want to go to university. So now we're sending them to the School of Mines, Colorado. We got a rolling enrollment of about 12 students getting masters, PhDs, you name it. Now we're going to add 20 undergraduates here shortly. All of this is coming out of our ability to finance things. Drilling and young people. That's what we need.